Camping had always held a special place in my heart, a way to disconnect from the chaos of everyday life and immerse myself in the tranquility of nature. However, a series of disturbing true camping horror stories shared among friends at a late-night bonfire would soon turn my love for the great outdoors into a chilling ordeal I could never forget. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when my friends and I embarked on our camping trip to the secluded woodland pines. The campground was nestled deep within a dense forest, far away from the distractions of civilization. The towering trees and the rustling leaves welcomed us as we set up our tents and gathered around the fire pit. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the crackling flames cast eerie shadows on the trees, setting the stage for the unsettling tales that were about to unfold. One by one, we began sharing our own personal accounts of disturbing camping experiences, each story sending shivers down our spines. I listened intently as my friend Sarah recounted her nightmarish encounter. She had been camping alone in the mountains when she woke up to the sound of distant whispers. The voices seemed to echo through the trees, and despite her fear, she ventured out to investigate. She followed the whispers deeper into the woods, her heart racing with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. The voices grew louder, and she stumbled upon a clearing where a group of shadowy figures stood in a circle. Their hushed conversations were incomprehensible, and Sarah fled back to her campsite, never camping alone again. Another friend, Alex, shared a tale that made my blood run cold. He had camped near a serene lake, only to wake up to find his campsite in disarray. Footprints led away from his tent, disappearing into the water. Puzzled and unnerved, Alex had packed up hastily, his unease deepening as he realized there had been no way anyone could have left those footprints. The stories continued, each one more unsettling than the last. The air grew colder, and the fire seemed to cast longer shadows, as if the darkness itself was creeping closer. Despite my growing unease, I decided to share my own experience, one that had haunted me for years. It had been a camping trip with my family when I was a child. We had set up our campsite near a serene river, surrounded by the beauty of nature. One night, as I lay in my sleeping bag, I heard soft footsteps approaching. I peeked out of the tent and saw a figure standing by the water's edge. It was a woman, dressed in a tattered white dress that billowed in the wind. Her back was turned to me, and she seemed to be whispering to the river. Her words were indistinct, lost in the rustling leaves and the gentle flow of the water. I watched in fascination and fear, unable to tear my eyes away from the haunting sight. As if sensing my presence, the woman turned her head slightly, revealing a pale, ghostly face. Her eyes were empty and hollow, and a chill ran down my spine as our gazes locked. I retreated back into the tent, my heart pounding, and when I ventured out again, the woman was gone, leaving behind an eerie silence. The stories had cast a pall over our campsite, and we huddled closer to the fire, seeking solace in each other's presence. The crackling flames seemed to ward off the encroaching darkness, but the feeling of being watched lingered. As the night wore on, unease settled over us like a heavy fog. We could hear faint rustling in the bushes, and every snap of a twig sent our hearts racing. The wind seemed to carry distant whispers, just at the edge of our hearing. We laughed nervously, trying to convince ourselves that it was just our imagination playing tricks. But then, a bone-chilling sound echoed through the trees, a mournful wail that cut through the night air like a blade. The fire sputtered, and our laughter died in our throats. We stared into the darkness, frozen in fear, as the wail grew louder, filling the woods with an otherworldly lament. "Did you hear that?" Alex whispered, his voice trembling. We nodded, our faces pale in the glow of the dying fire. Panic surged within me, and I felt an overwhelming urge to flee, to escape the haunting sounds that seemed to close in around us. "We should stay together," Sarah suggested, her eyes wide with fear. "It's probably just an animal." But deep down we knew it was no ordinary animal. The wail was too mournful, too human, and it seemed to be coming from all directions at once. The woods had transformed into a nightmarish maze, and every rustle of leaves, every distant sound, sent our hearts pounding. Desperate for answers, I reached for my flashlight and shone it towards the tree line. The pale beam illuminated the trees, revealing nothing but shadows that seemed to dance in the darkness. And then I saw her, the woman in the tattered white dress, standing among the trees, her hollow eyes fixed on us. A scream tore through the air as we scrambled to our feet, our terror propelling us forward. We ran blindly through the woods, branches scratching at our skin, the wail of the woman echoing in our ears. We didn't stop until we burst out of the forest, gasping for air, our hearts racing. We found ourselves back at our campsite, the fire reduced to embers. The woods were silent now, the wail gone, as if it had never existed. But the memory of that haunting sound was etched into our minds, a chilling reminder of the disturbing true camping horror stories we had shared. We packed up our belongings in a frenzy, eager to leave the woods behind. As we drove away from woodland pines, the weight of our experiences hung heavy in the air. The beauty of nature had been tainted by the unsettling tales that had come to life before our very eyes. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that we had stumbled upon something beyond our understanding that night, something that defied explanation and sent shivers down our spines. The woods hold secrets, dark and mysterious, and the haunting wail of that woman continues to haunt my dreams, a chilling reminder that some horrors are best left undisturbed in the depths of the wilderness.